Hello there. Now I gotta find something. That's $12 for under 12.
Maybe we get something I can cook it for both of them.
Okay, hold on. On Nathan's. Yeah. And
You want to try them?
I don't like bagel or hold on, let me think about it. Let me think about it. But I was in here for like salsas or something more.
Yeah, school pizza.
Yeah, they got school pizzas. Yeah, you want to be on my live stream, Isaiah? Hold on, man. Okay, now you. Okay, let me see. Real quick there.
Well, we just have these ones over here. We got this one is about almost 6 pounds, 5 pounds. I don't know. I mean, I can ask you.
What?
Gabby's ain't gets it. It's boar's head. It's mustard.
Yeah.
Well, it's your money.
How much? I got $12. Wow. I guess.
Ain't that cool? Look at all their school pizzas. I'm definitely glad to get some of them when I get some money. Look at that. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that is cool. Yeah, cool as school pizza.
Yeah, I mean, that was my favorite back in the day.
Okay, well.
I'm on. Get whatever you want.
I'm trying to think, do I want seafood?
They got butterfly shrimp.
I want these clam strips.
These are good too. They're only $5.
I may decide. I'll think about some more.
Whatever you decide, I'll cook it for you when we get some
This may be a meat chop, but it still won't taste like the meats here.
That's because hers is farm raised, organic for this. What makes it Italian?
I don't see anything over. Oh, sorry. Okay, I think I know what kind of sauce. I had an idea.
Let me see what you got.
Clam strips and orange sauce.
So what are your ideas to cook them and then coat them in the orange sauce, or dip them in the...
Coat them. Or dip them.
I would say dip them would probably be
I would say dip them would be better.
Oh, okay.
That's more of something you would coat chicken with. Not something like this.
Okay.
It would still be good to dip it in.
Okay.
Just not coat. Was there anything else you wanted, Bub?
No.
Okay.
Here, hold on 1 second. I'm just looking.
Hold on.
Oh, my favorite.
That's my plug. Just in case you ever want to try it. That's the
Okay.
time. Good on burgers and everything.
Okay, do you want to go?
Yeah, right
Okay, yeah.
Sourdough fries.
One singular quick.
Yeah.
How's it going, bud?
Oh, right.
I'll live in the dream.
Yeah, I hear you there.
Is that yours or mine? Pricing guy.
Oh, that's mine. Just brought it up.
Can I get the big pickle?
I was just about to ask that.
No.
It literally says, best pickle I ever ate.
I forget. 72. Have a good one.
All right, good.
Oh, yeah. And that was, what is this place called? Black Angus, Butcher's Black Angus. Yeah, clam strips and what was it? Oh yeah, orange sauce. Hold on, let me get a drink real quick. Let me get a drink real quick. Ew. Oh no. Hold on. I'm getting a drink. Ew.
Can your brother get one for bringing you to the Angus?
What?
A drink?
Do you want one?
Yeah. Mountain Dew.
Okay. Regular. Hold on. Hold on. I'm sorry. You said regular? You said regular, right? Okay, you said regular, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on.
But yeah, ask Gabby how good that mustard is.
How good is it?
Babe.
It's really good. I'm thirsty.
Okay. I'm tired of walking.
Well, now you're sitting.
So,
response.
so yeah, I'm tired of walking,
Said that's
people.
great. She said that's great news.
I'm gonna exit off this live video for now. See you later. I'm glad that even though no one watched this video,
They will later.
I hope this was Butcher's Black Angus, whatever the hell it's called. Butcher's Black Angus, yeah. Okay, bye. Hello there. I went to Butcher's Black Angus shop. I'm back home now. I need to go check on these clam strips and the orange sauce. That orange sauce from Le Choy. Ow. Before we watch a video, hey look, it's the carpetbagger on here, and he's at Disneyland, and he's also in the Tiki room in Toontown. We'll watch that 51-minute video, 51 39-second video in just a few. Oh my god damn. You're right. It's because he travels. No, that's not a joke, I know. I can't think of a joke right now. Probably because my feet are hurting. Good news is I exercised yesterday. Like I think it was 16,000 steps.
Oh, really good. That's real good.
The bad news is my feet are hurting. You need to listen to me about breakfast. Now I know what you're going to say. KFC will never have breakfast. You don't know that. You will never know that. And yes, West Virginia needs the KFC buffet at the St. Albans, West Virginia location. Yeah. And yes, today is Tuesday. Apparently, someone said that someone said the rapture was supposed to happen today. Well, there's one problem with that. There's no fucking rapture. I don't think today. Good news. That's the good news, people. The bad news is it didn't happen, so we don't have to worry about Trump anymore. Oh, they're in? Okay. Also, about, I guess the RVA Oyster Festival is supposed to be coming up on October the 18th. Turns out I got it backwards with oysters. I guess you're supposed to eat oysters in that month. Especially if it ends, if that month ends in an ER. So let me think here. Well, that's weird. You think you want to eat oysters, you know. But of course, some months you may not want to eat oysters in the summer months. And some other month, I don't know. But anyway, at least it's in October. But I thought you couldn't eat them. Originally, I thought you couldn't eat them in the fall or winter months. But I guess I got it backwards. Or so, I probably still have it backwards. Apparently, the fourth annual RVA Oyster Festival is coming. I don't know where it's going to be at. I know it's going to be in Virginia, but I don't know what the name of it is. But other than that, there you have it on that one. Also, Eddie Murphy is going to be casted as Inspector Clouseau. Hating him. The good news is you finally got a goddamn market. Bad news is you still had the Madison Civic Center, which is filled with asbestos. Oh, hello there, Jacob Martin. How you doing? Yeah, how you doing, Jacob Martin? I'm looking up or showing you a map of Boone County for some reason. Even though I'm supposed to be hating on Boone County, I hope you're not from Boone County, but still, that doesn't really matter if you're from Boone County or not, I guess. Do you like KFC? Because I do, especially the one St. Albans, especially at in the afternoon when it's fresh, maybe. Or at least it was good the last time I was there. You know. Let's see what we can find. Were ninjas real? This recipe took 3 years. Really? It took 3 years. Why? What kind of recipe takes 3 years?
This is me. And I said that as a vote 3 years ago, I made a video on the ninja or shinobi of Fugu Japan. And in that video,
Okay, I don't want to watch this. This is a death of alcohol. Well, I mean, not the total death of alcohol, but the total, they should say death of beer. Because let me tell you something, if it's the death of alcohol, then we're just going to end up like prohibition again, if that's the case.
America is turning its back on the bottle. Alcohol sales are down, bars are emptier, and the new generation is getting booze faster than ever. It seems like America is finally sobering up, and that has to be a good thing, right? Well, the reality is more complicated. Behind the following statistics lies a story with some surprising downsides. On today's episode of the Infographic Show, we're looking at why Americans are drinking less alcohol than ever before.
Well, maybe because, you know, beer is, I don't know, tastes like, some beers taste like shit to me. One of them tasted like skunk and marijuana together. Another one tasted alright. Then the stout was like malty. I guess I could see some people,
The average American drank the equivalent of about 17 to 21 pints of pure alcohol a year. But to the temperance movement, any amount was too much. So in 1920, even though that average had already fallen to 15.6 pints, the U.S. kicked off a period of prohibition. The official reported consumption rate fell to 0, but that didn't mean Americans had given up the hooch. It just meant that people were drinking in restaurant basements and barber shops with secret back doors. The wealthy got stockpiles and bribes for the police, and by 1929, New York had around 30,000 of those underground clubs. Called speakeasies. Throughout the country, there were hundreds of thousands of illegal distilleries, from large places run by Italian and Irish mafia to the backyard rural operations of dirt poor but enterprising moonshiners.
Moonshiners.
Shady doctors were writing about 11 million prescriptions each year for whiskey, brandy, or gin, often prescribing up to 1 pint of spirits every 10 days. They claimed it cured the flu, high blood pressure, even a dicky stomach. Still, prohibition looked like it worked, for a while at least. The estimated consumption rate...
Yeah, but prohibition also caused problems, like...
decreased, and so did many of the problems associated with heavy drinking.
Yeah, okay.
Liver damage. With so many backyard operations, the cheap stuff was often dangerously bad enough to blind you or even kill you. And when you push something people desperately want underground, you get violent, chaotic capitalism. Crime rates exploded during Prohibition. The mafia ran the streets and paid bribes to a nest of hungry, corrupt officials. The U.S. government missed out on almost $11 billion in taxes, not to mention all the lost jobs in the brewing industry. So in the end, the experiment failed, and it had started well enough, with consumption rates just 30% of pre-Prohibition levels, but that soon increased to 60 to 70% as the years went on. The message was clear. Americans wanted their alcohol. After Prohibition ended in 1933, drinking stayed relatively low, only about 8 pints per person a year. By the mid-1940s, it had already doubled, and by the late 70s and early 80s, Americans were drinking nearly 21 pints annually. Even in the 2020s, during the COVID pandemic, rates were still close to that peak. But now there's a shift. Most people still drink, but it's the heavy users doing the heavy lifting. A record share of Americans are choosing to quit alcohol entirely. In 2024, just 58% of Americans said they drank. A year later, that
Yeah,
number
I drink once in a while.
falling to 54%, the lowest drinking rate Gallup had recorded in 90 years. For most of the 20th and 21st centuries, drinking rates stayed between 60 and 71%. There were some lower years in the 1990s, which we'll try to explain later. They never fell as low as 54%. And from the looks of it, even more Americans may soon be giving up alcohol altogether. First, we need to see who exactly is behind all the quitting. From 2023 to 2025, women reported giving up alcohol at higher rates than men. Back in 2023, drinking rates in both sexes were at 62%, but by 2025, women had dropped to 51%, while men were at 57%. The biggest shift came from white Americans, plunging from 67% to 56%. Among non-white adults, there was barely any change, slipping from 54% to 52%. When it comes to age, it's the younger generations leading the shift. Among the 18 to 34-year-olds, drinking fell from 59% to 50%. For those aged 35 to 54, it dropped from 60% to 56%. Older Americans, by contrast, have kept their drinking habits. But there is another reason why Americans are putting down their glasses, and it's to do with how much they earn. Among people making $40,000 or less, drinking rates fell off a cliff from 53% to just 39%. Middle earners hardly changed at all, slipping from 58% to 54%. The surprise comes with high earners who can't use the excuse of rising living costs. In 2023, nearly 80% said they drank, but by 2025, that number has fallen to just 66%.
Well, maybe
The most surprising is that it seems to matter who you vote for. People who identify as Republican reported drinking at rates of 65% in 2023, down to a staggering 46% in 2025. For Democrats, there's hardly been any change, from 64% to just 61%.
so alcohol drinking is also with political
The
parties.
main reason for why so many people have quit. Health.
Okay, I can understand
Small
that.
amounts of alcohol should be safe. The media talked about how a glass or two of red wine every night was good for the heart. But wine consumption rates have skyrocketed over the last 60 years or so.
Yeah, wine is.
That wine is the
I heard wine.
guilt-free way to get your fix. Still, nowadays, it's not as guilt-free. The CDC says the safe amount of booze per day for men is roughly 2 standard drinks. 2 small beers or
2
2
standard
glasses of
drinks.
wine.
Okay, I only drink one once in a while.
What's referred to as moderate drinking increases the risk of you having health issues. The sad fact is no amount of alcohol can be called completely safe. And that's something we've really only been talking about over the last few years. Even so, drinking every day doesn't always shorten your life. No way to tell who will be the worst affected. You could drink daily in small amounts for years, decades, and still be relatively healthy. But another person could drink the exact same amount and discover their liver has tapped out. Binge drinking is said to be the worst. The special esophagus, breast, liver, colon, and rectum. Drinking can cause alcohol-related brain damage, leading to speech and coordination problems, confusion, and memory loss. Even short-term, alcohol can leave you depressed or incredibly anxious after a binge. But it's more than just body and mind. About 40% of violent crimes in the U.S. involve alcohol. It reduces your ability to reason, strips away inhibition, and makes you reckless. The numbers are shocking. Alcohol is involved in 37% of sexual assaults, 27% of aggravated assaults, 60% of intimate partner violence, and 40% of homicides. And on the roads, about 34 Americans die every single day in alcohol-related crashes. For years, much of that was downplayed or ignored. But now you can hardly scroll through social media without stumbling on a post or a video about how drinking wrecks lives. In fact, some of the most viral YouTube content of the past few years has focused on alcohol being a weapon of mass destruction. So, the fact that we are so educated now is probably the main reason for consumption rates going down. But it's only one reason. Big alcohol is scrambling. Beer giants like Molson Coors and Anheuser-Busch InBev have been rolling out new lines of non-alcoholic drinks. Sure, 0% beer has been around for decades, but until now it was never marketed as something cool, especially for younger people. Now you've got big name vodka and gin brands launching 0% cocktails, and wine producers are getting in on the action. In 2022, the U.S. non-alcoholic drinks market was worth about $395 million.
Really?
2024, it had grown to 829 million, and by 2028, analysts project it'll expand by another $4 billion.
Okay.
Meanwhile, U.S. alcohol sales went from $113.6 billion in 2023 to $112.9 billion in 2024, with 2025 expected to be worse. For big booze, the writing is on the wall.
Hold on, man. Hello there, I'm back. I'm back again. Hello there, hello there, hello there. And this is what iDubbbz used to call a legit food review. Now it's going to be mine, BRC's legit food review. Sorry about that again. Anyway, this is a legit BRC food review. These are clam strips with orange sauce. Orange sauce from La Choy, I think it's what it's called. The breading is so soft and crunchy at the exact same time. The inside, the meat, the fish meat is, well, I don't know how to put this. Hold on. No, it doesn't have much meat in it. Hold on. I mean, it's not tough. Did you hear the announcement? If it's about ASW, then no, I don't want to hear it. Is it about ASW, West Virginia? Is it about Shane Storm? If so, I don't want to hear it. But if it's about someone else, give it to me. I want to enjoy my day. They can have their shit show over there in Madison. A little bit of a shit show. Okay, back to the video.
Americans are quitting, and they're probably not coming back. Another big reason is
Oh no, about Crown Jewel. Oh yeah, I think it was John Cena versus AJ Styles again.
THC-infused drinks
For the uptake time.
Studies show that in the early 2000s, about 10 to
And for the final time too.
regularly used marijuana, roughly double the rate of the 1980s and 90s. Illegality has never really stopped people from finding it, but legality has made it more acceptable. Today, about 17 to 18% of Americans say they currently use cannabis. In 1969, at the height of the counterculture, only 4% of Americans told Gallup they'd ever tried it. Today, that number is closer to half, about 47%. But weed isn't the only substance cutting into alcohol's old territory. In states like Oregon and Colorado, psilocybin or magic mushrooms has been legalized in therapeutic or supervised settings. Research now shows it may help with mental health disorders and addiction, including to alcohol. Even where it's still illegal, young people are using it, often in microdoses, seeing it as the opposite of alcohol. Instead of making you sloppy and reckless, many take it for self-reflection, enhanced perception, and busting trauma. Usage is still rare.
Yeah.
Only about 2% of U.S. adults report using mushrooms in the past year, and around 12% of them have tried them at least once. And then there's Kratom, a Southeast Asian leaf with a niche but loyal U.S. following. In 2020 to 21, about 1% of Americans reported using it, with higher numbers in states where it remains legal, despite fierce efforts to ban it. At low doses, it acts like a mild stimulant, while at higher doses, it mimics some opioid-like effects, which makes it potentially addictive. Still, it's strong support from people claiming it helped them quit heroin, alcohol, prescription painkillers, or tranquilizers. Kratom carries risks, but so does every drug. So far, research suggests it's much safer, more manageable, and far cheaper than alcoholism or heroin, meaning less harm to both individuals and society. And that's fueling a big shift in the U.S. Young people are asking, why is one drug legal while another, statistically less dangerous, isn't? The media goes into overdrive if one single person is suspected to have been harmed by weed, kratom, or mushrooms. Yet many hundreds of Americans die every single day from alcohol or alcohol-related events. Gen Z is paying attention to this, so young people might be more discerning about what they put into their body. Meanwhile, dependence on prescription drugs is everywhere. Around 24 million Americans took benzodiazepines in 2023, many abusing them. About 1 in 6 U.S. adults are on prescription meds for mental health, the highest rate in history. And for Gen Z, the share is even higher. 34% take prescription drugs and 19% self-medicate, according to a recent study. That is another reason fewer people are reaching for alcohol. They're already on something that changes their factory settings. And opioids haven't gone away either. In 2020 and 2021, 12.7 million American adults took them and 8.6 million misused them. From 1999 to 2023, prescription opioid overdoses killed over 300,000 people. Today, millions of Americans still turn to pills instead of alcohol, but many others are choosing softer drugs over both, and some are rejecting it all, going sober. Also important is that the non-alcohol substances Americans are turning to these days aren't exactly what you would call sociable drugs. So it's no surprise that the shift away from alcohol mirrors another trend. We are statistically spending far more time alone. Unless you're a committed alcoholic, drinking alone often feels depressing, especially when you're young. And experts warn that isolation itself is terrible for both mental and physical health, which means that quitting alcohol might not cancel out the damage loneliness is already causing. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, Americans aged 15 to 29 spend about 45% more time alone in 2023 than they did in 2010. Of course, everyone wound up isolated during the pandemic, but the numbers show something. Society never returned to pre-pandemic levels of social interaction. A 2025 USA Today article told us, Gen Z has become lonely and antisocial. The piece argued that lower alcohol consumption is not a bad thing in itself, but when it's paired with more isolation, rising sadness, and fewer flesh-on-flesh relationships, it's not exactly a healthy trade-off. The economics haven't helped either. High inflation has made bars and restaurants too expensive, giving people one more reason to skip a night out. Even among those who still drink, consumption is down, and it's not just because of the cost. Back in the 2000s, only 25% of Americans thought 1 or 2 daily drinks were harmful. Today, it's 53%, a massive shift in attitudes. And that shift shows up in drinking habits, too. In 2003, drinkers averaged just over 5 drinks a week. By 2025, it was down to 2.8. The same low point America had already hit in the mid-1990s. Nobody really knows why. Maybe it was cultural fads, maybe distractions like MDMA. For whatever reason, it didn't last. This time, the signs say it's permanent, and it is not just America. It's happening worldwide. In the UK, Gen Z are following the American lead, drinking significantly less. The BBC said they're cutting back far more than generations before them. Gen Z Australians, too, are at the front of the pack when it comes to just saying no to booze. Work life in the US, UK, Australia, almost everywhere has also changed. In 2024, approximately 21.6% of the U.S. workforce, or 34.3 million people, work from home. You might think that makes drinking easier, but the reality is different. About 64 million Americans are freelancers. Freelancers often don't get paid unless they produce. It's easy to coast through a hungover day at the office. It's a lot harder to do that when your income depends entirely on your output. And for the people still stuck in the office, things have changed. That boozy lunch and the ritual after-work beer were once staples of Western working culture. Not anymore. The Guardian recently said that the days of the post-work pint are fading away. That's good news for bank balances and livers, but it may not be that great for well-being. Those boisterous pub sessions often help stave off loneliness and build friendships that lasted for life. Even if pub culture was still thriving, it's doubtful that Gen Z would be into it. There's something else we mentioned, politics. In the past, people with more conservative mindsets were less likely to experiment with high-risk drugs. That lines up with research showing conservatives tend to be less open to new experiences in general. Alcohol, though, was the exception. It was bipartisan. Unlike taking street drugs, drinking was socially acceptable across the board, so whether you voted red or blue didn't make much statistical difference. But things have changed. With drinking increasingly framed as a health risk rather than a harmless pastime, it makes sense that risk-averse conservatives would be the first to pull back. For decades, Americans told themselves alcohol wasn't really a drug, but now we accept it's just another way to get high, and that could be putting off the more cautious among us. Money might play a role too. Times are tough right now, and surveys suggest conservatives on average tend to be more careful with their finances. But the bigger story goes beyond politics. Across the spectrum, alcohol has shaped American life for centuries, but the tide may be turning. Whether it's health concerns, shifting culture, or simple economics, fewer people are raising the glass. And the numbers don't lie. America is drinking less than ever before. If history is any guide, trends like these rarely reverse overnight. The 2020s could mark the beginning of a permanent shift away from alcohol, changing not just how Americans celebrate, but how they see themselves. One thing is clear, the party may never look the same again. Americans are drinking less than ever, but some substances are far stranger than alcohol. Watch insane drugs you didn't know existed, and see just how bizarre the world of chemicals can get. Or click on this video instead.
Don't eat plain strips.
Yeah.
Really good.
It was once the king of fried chicken.
Yeah.
But now KFC is getting cooked.
I think I'm gonna make burritos.